You enjoyed the first two compilations so much that we didn't stop there. Now it's time for a new set packed with creative, offbeat business ideas you won't find in your region. Many of them require minimal investment, and you can get started with just $500 or even less. The market is changing fast. New formats appear every day, and customers expect fresh solutions, but not every project demands big capital. Often what matters most is your idea and a clear understanding of what your audience actually needs. Ready to explore new opportunities? Let's jump in. It's not just a table, it's an art piece. Someone pours clear epoxy resin and fills it with tiny toys. The result is transparent furniture with an entire story sealed inside. No chair or table like this can ever be duplicated exactly, and that's what drives the price up. This giant inflatable bag turns into a full party space in minutes. Plug in the blower, and the structure takes shape with walls, a ceiling, and an entrance. Set it up in a yard, park, or beach, add lights, speakers, and fog, and guests feel like they're inside a private pop-up nightclub. Imagine a display shelf that arrives as a flat piece of cardboard, and a minute later, it's fully assembled and ready to hold products. These shelves exist for a simple reason. Businesses constantly need to refresh their displays as branding and product flavors change. That's why designs that ship as flat sheets have become so useful. This is a secure drop box built directly into a wall or garage door. A courier places the package in the outer compartment. It slides into the locked interior section, and porch thieves can't touch it. Porch piracy is a massive issue in the US, so selling and installing these boxes is a strong niche. There's a service that helps keep your furniture in perfect condition, even if the table is used extensively every day. Specialists apply a thin, transparent film to the surface, the same kind used in auto detailing, only customized to match the interior. After installation, the surface looks just as good as before, just smoother and more protected. A mobile outdoor screen turns a backyard into a place where a movie feels different, like a moment everyone is gathered for. The customer is essentially ordering the setup, and you simply arrive and install the equipment in a way they wouldn't be able to manage on their own. You barely notice this fence until you're close to it. The mirrored surface reflects grass, trees, and sunlight, blending perfectly with the surroundings. It creates the illusion that the yard has no boundary at all, which visually expands the space and gives a striking modern look. Neon paint parties run on a simple idea. People need a place where they can let go and feel free. Give them the chance to create bright chaos, and they turn that moment into an emotion they'll want to come back for. If you're still putting off launching your website because it's expensive, complicated, or requires coding, let me show you a much smarter way. Today I'm building a full website with Hostinger's AI website builder. Watch this. I just tell the AI what I need. A website for an online English school with a blog and course payments. Then I hit create, and in just a few seconds, the AI generates a complete website. Structure, text, images, everything ready. From here, customizing is simple. I drag and drop sections, change colors, swap images, zero coding required. No logo? The built-in AI logo maker creates one instantly based on your brand name. Need an about section or service descriptions? AI Writer fills it in with clean, professional text. Now, the price is the real shocker. Hostinger's Black Friday offer gives you up to around 85% off on long-term plans, so your website costs just a couple dollars a month instead of a full developer budget. I recommend the Business Website Builder plan. You get all the AI tools, e-commerce features, a free domain for a year, and up to 100 business email accounts. And the 48-month plan gives you the best price overall. Pay once and forget about hosting bills for years. To get the maximum discount, go to hostinger.com/easybusiness. In the checkout, enter the code EASYBUSINESS for an extra 10% off on top. I'll leave the link and code in the description and pinned comment. Build your website now, not after your competitors already did. Wooden fences turn dull and gray fast, but there's a mobile service that restores them in one visit. A gentle cleaning solution loosens mold and grime, and controlled water pressure washes everything off. It usually takes about an hour, and the fence looks brand new on the spot. These desserts look like halved fruit, but each shell is filled with dense ice cream molded inside the natural skin. The fruit adds aroma, keeps the portion cold, and makes the presentation impossible to ignore. It's a grab-and-go format that photographs well and fits perfectly into any food location. Golf ponds hide thousands of lost balls that can be collected with nets, rakes, or small underwater scoops. After cleaning and sorting, most balls are still usable, and golf clubs eagerly buy them back to resell as discounted, recycled balls. The recovery cost is tiny, the resale price solid, margins stay high. Look at this vending machine. Its holographic animation, combined with real ice cream, makes you stop and marvel. It's a good eye-catcher for kids, who will make their parents buy ice cream and have an unusual experience with it. This isn't a wrap, it's real hand-painted work. Just a simple brush and some patience, and the metal starts to look like solid vintage wood. Fans of old-school style love details like this. The car feels like it's from an era when wood wasn't decoration, but character. Some pieces grab your attention instantly, and this mirror is one of them. Instead of a regular surface, it creates the illusion of a water droplet, as if the moment of a splash were frozen in time. It's hard to even overstate how much character this adds to a room. Here's a serving format that instantly draws attention. The box folds open into a mini cooking station. The customer prepares the meal themselves in minutes, turning a simple takeout order into a tiny, hands-on restaurant experience. One of the cheapest and most viral ad methods out there. You place a stencil on a dirty sidewalk and pressure wash only the exposed area. The grime washes away, leaving a clean logo or message on the pavement. From the outside, it looks like a regular tabletop, but once you remove the center cover, a long ice-filled compartment opens up. You place the drinks inside, and the table turns into a kind of cooling station right in the middle of the group. The appeal is in the presentation. It's still a piece of furniture, but it also works as a mini fridge. The rainbow effect comes entirely from micro-textures in the mold, no dyes needed. As the chocolate hardens, it copies the tiny pattern, and light creates a holographic shine on the surface. The same trick works with textured film, giving a luxurious look that sells instantly. Sometimes an event calls for more than simple decor, it needs a full visual scene. In this case, the entire surface of a pool is covered with a dense layer of petals arranged into patterns. It creates something between a giant greeting card and an art installation, only built directly on water. The key is knowing how to assemble the composition and choose petals by density and color. Essentially, it's a service where people simply say, "I need a gift," and you do all the work. You select the items, carefully arrange them in a drawer or box, add the packaging, and you're done. The main benefit here isn't the items themselves, but the fact that the gift is already assembled. Giant reinforced concrete pipes aren't just construction material anymore. People turn them into capsule rooms for micro-hotels, cafes, or outdoor lounges. The structure comes ready-made from the factory. Solid curved walls, insulation, and very low installation costs. Place it on a small foundation, add a panoramic window and interior decor, and you get a futuristic room for a fraction of normal building costs. Imagine taking a regular ultrasound image, the kind that usually stays tucked away in a folder, and turning it into a glass sphere with deep engraving. Inside is the baby's silhouette, but now it looks like a tiny sculpture glowing from within. The engraving is created using a 3D model inside the glass sphere, and it's set on a neat wooden base with warm lighting. This method turns old concrete or plain soil into a clean, premium-looking surface. Resin is mixed with stone aggregate, spread across the area, and leveled. After curing, the result is a smooth, seamless path that looks expensive and handles heavy use. A simple toolkit and materials are enough to start taking high-paying landscaping jobs. Traditional piñatas can be chaotic. Kids swing wildly, and adults get nervous. But this one spins on its axis and keeps everyone at a safer distance, turning the whole scene into something fun without the worry. It quickly caught on at children's parties because it delivers the same excitement without the risk of someone getting hit. This isn't a vibrating chair, it's a full massage robot. Mechanical hands move exactly like a therapist, working through your back, neck, and legs. With a setup like this, you can run a small massage studio without hiring staff. The customer chooses a program, and the machine does the rest. This dessert format grabs attention instantly. The cake is assembled vertically and placed on a rotating stand, so the serving style resembles shawarma. The guest gets a portion that looks unusual, even though it's essentially the same familiar dessert. Some packaging designs turn the box into a little mechanical experience. Certain versions pop into a rigid shape with one movement. Theirs use a folding grid that tightens around the item and holds it in place. Some open like a star with numbered sections, others pull apart like a candy wrapper. It turns unboxing into part of the product. Garages and utility rooms turn into junk zones, mostly because there's no real storage system. Custom shelving built around the client's actual bins and space fixes that instantly. The customer sends measurements and shows what containers they use, and you design a rack that fits the garage like built-in furniture. Many people have bags of old children's clothes at home, too sentimental to throw away, yet completely unused. This archive can be turned into something practical, a quilt made from pieces of that clothing. Instead of a box of forgotten items, they get a finished piece they can actually use, and orders like this come in year-round. Polyjacking is a service that lifts sunken concrete using expanding foam. Over time, slabs start to sink because the ground beneath them forms voids, and instead of tearing the concrete out, the surface is brought back to level through the pressure created by the polymer as it fills the space under the slab. Washing a car is easy. Plenty of services exist, but when it comes to bicycles, the situation is still lacking. That's why bike washing stations have started spreading across Europe. You wheel the bike inside, start the process, and a couple of minutes later, it comes out clean and dry. Imagine a phone case that feels like a small dumbbell. 5 pounds of solid metal, and suddenly holding a phone isn't as tempting as scrolling for hours. The case turns the smartphone into an inconvenient luxury, and people naturally start reaching for it less. When it comes to uniquely shaped fruits and vegetables, this is one of those ideas that draws interest even before you start explaining anything. The fruit grows inside a transparent mold that restricts its shape and defines its volume. Over time, it takes on the outline of the mold, creating that unusual silhouette. Disposable packaging doesn't say much about a brand on its own, but once you leave an imprint on it, the most ordinary box instantly feels branded. A stamp works like a small signature that makes the product recognizable and adds value, while for the business, it becomes an easy way to stand out without significant costs. This fence works like outdoor blinds. Each plank rotates, letting the homeowner control shade, airflow, and privacy. It looks better than a regular wood fence and offers flexibility that suburban homeowners in the US really appreciate. Sometimes people want to bring back something more meaningful from a trip than a fridge magnet. That's where a minimalist, transparent box with small compartments comes in, a place to store everything they've collected themselves. Shells or pieces of sea glass, gathered by hand, carry far more emotion than they might seem at first glance. Regular bank cards have become bland plastic, which created demand for premium upgrades. This service transplants the chip into a new, heavier, more luxurious shell that feels closer to a metal card. Since banks rarely offer real metal cards, people happily pay privately to get that premium feel. When a solar panel is covered in dust and leaves, it can lose up to a third of its output. To fix that, some panels come with automatic cleaning rails that sweep down the surface with water. The dirt disappears, efficiency comes back immediately, and no one has to climb onto the roof or wait for rain. He worked construction and couldn't stand the constant noise, just machines buzzing all day. So he built music right into his hard hat and customized it to match his style. And suddenly, his coworkers started asking for one too. What began as a fix for himself turned into a real product with solid revenue and steady orders. Wedding floristry is shifting toward pieces that feel more integrated into the bride's look. Floral bags are gradually replacing the classic bouquet, functioning as an accessory that becomes part of the silhouette. They create a sense of intention and refinement, which makes clients treat them as a natural element of the wedding style. When it comes to fishing, people share one common fear: losing their cap to the water. That's how a niche of hats that float on their own appeared. The secret is that the inner insert of the brim is made from a lightweight foam material, while the outer side remains regular fabric. And with engraving, there's also room for customization. Pet owners are willing to spend surprising amounts on little trinkets related to their animals. Here's an example. A brush shaped and colored like a dog. These figures are sold raw, without final paint. All you need is a photo, some paint, and a bit of craft work to create the finished piece. It looks like a standard roof window, but it transforms into a small balcony in seconds. The top section lifts up, the bottom one swings out and turns into a railing. The room instantly becomes brighter and feels larger, and this feature noticeably increases the property's value and appeal. Intarsia is a technique where an image is created not with paint or printing, but with pieces of real wood. Each element is cut separately, and when the pieces fit together, the artwork gains volume. It can be done in small formats for selling handcrafted miniatures or scaled up for large interior commissions. Here's the core of the idea. Regular thermal tumblers have become a mass product, and customization is what stands out the most now. People buy a Stanley, but they don't want theirs to look identical to hundreds of others. That's where the niche comes in. You take the base model and turn it into a personal version. If put briefly, this is a business built around keeping asphalt from breaking down and earning by extending how long it stays intact. The surface needs a protective layer from time to time. Without it, the environment gradually damages the pavement. Seal coating forms a thin film on top that closes the pores, brings back the color, and slows the natural aging of the asphalt. People throw away broken mirrors, but someone turns them into decor. You take a base shaped like a leaf, or any design, arrange the mirror shards like mosaic pieces, and fix everything with adhesive. No complicated tools needed, just a template, a glass cutter, and a bit of precision. This format uses fruity cubes that are cut directly from a large tray. The base is simple and inexpensive, and during the process, it turns into dense, colorful layers that look just as appealing as they taste. In Thailand, this style has taken off especially fast, becoming a recognizable local trend. Handmade birdhouses always trigger a smile. People want a bit more life in their yard, for birds to actually settle there in spring, for the space to feel warmer and more inviting. That's why these pieces are valued. A creative approach and simple customization for the buyer are enough to justify a higher price. Sometimes after a wedding, there are things you can't really return to, items tied to the memory but lasting only a few days, like the flowers. And that's where an interesting idea comes in. Preserving these pieces in epoxy resin and turning them into a wall panel. This way, they stay exactly as they were on that day. Regular menus rarely grab attention, but a pizza-shaped menu does it instantly. A round, laminated pizza with a thick center coil looks playful and stands out on the table, and restaurants love this format because it boosts branding and increases the chances that customers order more just out of curiosity. When a regular table stops being just a surface and turns into a small fragment of nature, people perceive it completely differently. A stream table isn't about decor. It's an actual moving water channel built into the furniture. The business appeal is that almost no one makes pieces like this. Everyone has seen epoxy, rivers, but a real flowing stream is rare. Here's something you can actually sell. Not a trampoline, but a clean yard without a giant metal dish in the middle. People hate how regular trampolines ruin the look of their space. This one sits flush with the ground, blends into the landscape, and still works as a play zone. There's glass that switches from frosted to clear at the push of a button. It's the same technology used in high-end offices and homes. A film with liquid crystals is laminated inside the glass unit, and when electricity is applied, the crystals align and let the light pass through. At first glance, it's a regular glass cup, but when you drop it, nothing breaks. Because it's not glass at all, it's a flexible, transparent polymer. Families with kids love it, and so do cafes at outdoor events, since there's zero risk of shattered glass and zero cleanup. It's like underfloor heating, but outside. Heating cables are laid beneath asphalt or paving, and when snowfall starts, the surface simply doesn't have time to freeze over. The snow melts immediately, even when the temperature is below zero. This vending machine is filled with real, unclaimed, or lost packages mystery boxes. You pay a fixed price and get a random parcel. It could be something cheap or something surprisingly valuable. Lost package pallets cost little, and selling them individually offers great margins. A woman pours a thin stream of hot wax into cold water, and it instantly curls, twists, and folds into sculptural shapes. These water-formed candles are mesmerizing to watch, which is why they sell so well at festivals and markets. People see the process and buy on impulse. These wall reliefs always make a strong impression. You walk into a room and the accent wall already looks like part of the architecture. The craftsman works with plaster in a way that lets the form gradually emerge from an ordinary mix. Some shape it intuitively like a sculptor, while others start with a stencil to establish the foundation. This cake hides a surprise under a thin brulee-style top that burns away when torched. As the surface caramelizes and melts, it reveals a message, a ring, or a small design underneath. The dramatic reveal is what sells it, making the idea perfect for proposals, gender reveals, and big celebrations. You show up with a portable log splitter and turn bulky rounds into neat, even firewood right on the customer's property. No axes or heavy lifting for them at all. Fireplace and wood stove owners love the convenience, especially in colder months. Add optional firewood delivery, and the business becomes a reliable year-round service. You show up, fully decorate the home or business for the season or holiday, and return later to take everything down. It's easier for clients to pay for a complete solution than to handle it themselves. The calendar guarantees steady demand. Fall setups, Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, graduations, weddings, summer parties. Each season brings a fresh wave of orders. When a candle sits in a simple glass, it stays unnoticed. But once you place it in a plaster base, the whole atmosphere shifts. The flame becomes part of a complete visual story, as if it suddenly gained its own character. The look is striking while the cost is low. A perfect product for Etsy. A shrimp-focused aquarium shop caters to hobbyists who collect colorful species and build small aquascapes around them. Clean nanotanks, good lighting, and dozens of shrimp varieties create strong, ongoing interest. Each shrimp tank also needs plants, moss, driftwood, minerals, and food, all of which add steady, recurring sales. Balloon decor normally takes hours of hand tying and inflating, but this system does it automatically. You attach empty balloons to a rack, turn it on, and the machine fills each one to the exact size needed. In minutes, a full arch or backdrop is ready. A massive time saver for event decorators and a strong upsell for anyone working with parties. Most people replace scratched bowling balls, so a service that restores them stands out immediately. You resurface the ball, polish it, fix imperfections, and bring performance back for a fraction of the cost of buying new. You can also add custom finishes, graphics, colors, and textures for extra revenue. A rage room is a place where people can safely smash things to blow off steam. The room is prepped, the customer puts on protective gear, and they break whatever set they choose. For the owner, expenses are straightforward: rent, safety equipment, and cheap breakables. At first, the video makes it look like a regular to-go coffee cup until it gets cracked open. Turns out the whole cup is an edible chocolate shell with soft tiramisu inside. Wait, it wasn't real? Is exactly what makes the product go viral. This service uses a projector to transfer any design or lettering onto a wall with perfect accuracy. The image appears immediately in the right size and proportions, and the client can see exactly how it will look before any paint is applied. Small text elements usually run $70 to $120, medium illustrations $150 to $300, and long fences start at around $400. How about an idea where regular wallpaper rolls are turned into ready-made wall decor? Not for renovation, but for posters and framed art. You take beautiful wallpaper and cut it into full-size posters. On the wall, it looks like designer artwork, while the cost is dramatically lower. In this niche, artists create fake cakes that look real yet never spoil. They're used wherever a stable, flawless appearance matters. The buyer gets a decorative piece that can be reused endlessly, while the maker only needs simple materials to create an object that feels like a fully fledged element of decor. An outdoor fire pit turns a backyard into a place you actually want to step into at night, just to sit by the fire. You shape the space so the fire area feels like a natural extension of the yard and blends into its atmosphere. Pricing typically starts around $800 to $1,500 and increases as the project becomes more complex. Some candles don't just burn, they literally melt in a spiral. The wick runs along the side rather than straight down, and as the flame follows its path, the wax melts layer by layer, revealing what's hidden inside. You can make one from regular soy wax. The entire effect comes from the mold that sets the wick's trajectory. This kind of wall panel instantly changes the feel of a room. A frozen library appears on the wall, with pages and volume creating their own texture and shadows. Each book is fixed in a position that makes it look most expressive, and together they form a single surface that feels like a piece of art installation. The most reliable client is the one who has a dog. They can't skip a walk, and handing that responsibility to just anyone feels risky. That's where the whole idea comes from. You become the person they trust with the most precious being in the house after the kids. This kind of service runs on trust, and once you've earned it, clients usually stay for a long time. Pivot doors are those large entry panels that don't hang on regular hinges but rotate around a central axis. The idea is simple. Instead of 3 hinges, the structure uses a top and bottom pivot mechanism, which allows the door to be almost any size or weight. Want a 3-meter slab made from solid wood or another heavy material? A pivot can handle it. In most American homes, heat escapes not through the windows, but through the attic and the walls. That's exactly what blown-in insulation addresses. It fills the empty cavities under pressure with a dense layer of material, immediately reducing heat loss. An underwater treadmill is a distinct training format that's already growing into a full niche in the US. The water reduces stress on the joints and eases pressure on the knees and lower back. The price point is solid because this is no longer just fitness, it's positioned as health and recovery. Tile tables create a kind of visual illusion. At first glance, they look like high-end pieces from a gallery, even though they're made from accessible materials. The tiled surface gives them clean geometry and a sense of solidity, as if the table were built from small architectural fragments.